So,
Sir,
you are having all the controls of the classroom of the meeting.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Actually, okay, fine. Actually, the meeting is being मीन्स मीटिंग अभी रिकॉर्डिंग चली रही है इसकी, वो एंड तक
Okay,
ऑन
sir.
ही रहती है साना जी हमारी मीटिंग. सो एट द
Okay, sir.
एंड वी upload the whole video lecture on the YouTube so that
Yeah.
later on the participants may access the same.
Right, sir. Right.
So participants, if they please write in the chat box, or you have the time to switch on your mics also, just you can switch on your mic and ask to the sir. You're all welcome. Feel free. As you all of you know that this corona kind of thing is going to remain with us for 2 or 3 or more months also, you may say. So we just need to adapt with this.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So try to make use of your all senses.
Yes, sir.
It
Yes.
really is time to suppress
Yeah.
upon our senses of visualization.
Yes. Yes,
So all
sir.
are welcome to ask. So Ksana ji, no question from their side. You may start
Yeah.
with your
Yes, sir.
lecture.
Okay, sir. Okay. Okay. Welcome you all. In this lecture, we are going to discuss logistic regression. So this is a classification type problem, and we will discuss how this classification techniques work basically. So I will start with the logistic regression in the part of the classification of our machine learning module. So classification is a type of supervised machine learning, and you very well know what is the supervised machine learning basically. I am just revising the concept of supervised machine learning. In supervised machine learning, we have the label data. It means in the data, we have the output variable associated. Just I saw in the first lecture one table in which we have one column as the labeled data. You can say expected salary is one of the expected labeled column. So in supervised machine learning, we have the labeled data. And in the classification type of the machine learning, the output feature is always categorical in nature. You can say in the output column, we have the value of either true or false, zero or non-zero. And in many of the problems, we have 1, 2, 3 also. If we have true or false values in our output feature, then it is a binary type classification. Otherwise, if you have more than two values in the output feature, then the problem will be a multi-class problem. Okay. So basically what we do in a classification problem, we get the label data from some source and use that data as the training data, and our classifier tries to approximate a mapping function from the set of input variables to the output variable. In mathematical form, we can write it like this one: y equal to fx, where this capital X, you can take it as a vector, and this is the combination of all input features. We are assuming that in our data set, we have n number of input features. Okay, and I have taken 4 images. The first you can recognize very well. The first image is of male, and the second image is of female, and third one is also female, and the last image is of male. So, my dear students, how we are guessing that this pic is of male or female? How can we find it out? So, on what
Yes,
basis? Yes, yes, please. Yes, please. What are the basic points using which we are saying that this pic belong to a male or a female? Okay, someone has written Mridal Sharma on the basis of features. So, what features, Mridal? Okay, beard, hairs. Another one, eyelashes. Very good, very good. And one more feature which is highly visible to all of us, that is the hair. Maybe hairs, face. Yes, yes, very good. Right, right. So basically, if we have this type of data set, face structure is also one of the possible feature. So from this type of the data set, the output is of only two type, either male or female. Right? So whenever we have this type of data, our machine learning problem is of classification type. Okay. Right. And we have two type of classification problems. First one is the binary classification. In the binary classification, we have only two classes. In the previous slide, the problem was of binary nature. While a classification problem with more than two classes is a multi-class classification. Just from this data set, you can observe that we have images of numbers from 0 to 9. So we have different images of 0, different images of 1, different images of 2, but we are able to recognize which image is of 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 like this. So again, the basis of the recognition is the features. Features of each of the image. We know we write 4 in this way. Somebody will write 4 like this way, right? And somebody may like write 4 in this way. So these are the structures and other features of the image using which we can recognize either image is of 0 or 1 or 9. So this problem, and for the classification problem, binary classification problem also, you can give this example. If we have the data set of emails, then either email is a spam mail or a non-spam email, right? So again, the criteria of classification is some features, and using these features, we can say the mail is of spam type or non-spam type. So basically, we are fully dependent on features and their values. Okay. And in today's lecture, I have taken one data set, which is a very popular data set, iris data set. And I have stored just 5 rows of this data set in this column. And these are the features of this data set. The first feature is the sepal length. Second one is the sepal width. And the third one is the petal length, and the fourth input feature is the petal width. So these 4 features are of input type, and the last feature is of output type. This is the type of the flower basically. So we, in this data set, we have total 150 rows of 3 flowers. First flower is this setosa, second one is versicolor, and the last flower is virginica. So for each of the flower, we have 50 records, 50 rows you can say. So 50 into 3, total records are 150. And whenever we talk about the features, total features are 5 in this data set. Out of these 5 features, 4 are the input features, and the last feature, it is the output feature basically. This is a standard data set and is available on the net also, and as a part of the Python, you can get it from your Python library. Okay. So before going on to the programming part, I will discuss some important points related to the logistic regression. I just told you this classification is a supervised learning type problem which is used to predict the probability of a target value. So this is a special type of a classification technique using which what we are going to predict. We are going to predict the probability of a output variable. Okay, target variable, target feature, output variable, output feature, they are same name. Okay, and this is a predictive analysis approach which is purely based on the concept of probability. So we'll have to go into a definition of the probability to learn about the linear regression. Mathematically, we can say logistic regression model predicts probability y equal to 1 as a function of input features. This is for one class. Y one stands for one class, and if we have only two class, then 0 you can take for the second class. And if you have more than two class, then you can take 0, 1, 2 like this. So yes, please. It is one of the very simplest machine learning. Spam detection, diabetes prediction, cancer detection, etc. So in the hypothesis of the logistic regression, it tends its limit to the cost function to be in the range of 0 and 1 only, because we are going to take the help of the probability, and you know the probability values vary between 0 to 1 only. It cannot be greater than 1 and cannot be less than 0. Therefore, the linear function which we have used in our linear regression, in a normal linear regression, just like simple linear regression, polynomial linear regression, and multiple linear regression, those functions fail to represent it as these functions can have a value greater than 1 or less than 0 also. So we cannot directly use these linear functions which we use in our different regression models. And this is the hypothesis which I told you earlier, that the value will be in the range of 0 and 1 only. This is the predictor, this is our predictor, and this is the set of input data. So you can observe from this expression that the value of the probability will and expected to lie in the range, the defined range, theoretical defined range of the probability. Okay, so one more point we need to cover it, and after it we will go to the programming part directly. What we expect from the classifier? Classifier means our logistic regression classifier to give us a set of outputs or classes based on the probability when we pass the input through the prediction function and return a probability score between 0 and 1 only. So let's start first with the programming part. So first part is that we need to load the data set in our program, and the data is the iris data set, and this data set is defined in this class load underscore iris. So firstly you need to import this load underscore iris, and this is the part of the sklearn.datasets library. This is the data sets. S is here, not a data set, it is data sets. Okay, so after importing this data set, we need to load the data set into our program, into our memory. And the constructor of this class is its name itself. So we will execute this method. This is the constructor basically. You know the concept of the constructor, I hope. So the constructor name is the name of the class itself. So whenever this constructor will execute, it will load the data into this iris variable. You can give any name to this data set. I have given a iris name itself. So in the third statement, what I have done, just printed the name of the target variables, target underscore names. Just execute these 3 lines first. Okay, so you might be observing that this variable name, target underscore names, it is returning 3 values to us: Setosa, Versicolor, and Virginica. So these are the 3 classes whose data has been stored in the Iris dataset. Okay, and now our job will be just to extract the data of the input features. I told you that there are 4 input features. So Iris is my object name, data set name, and by using this dot data, I will get the data of input features. You know what is the meaning of this one? Yeah, you can see someone Preet, you can use this statement, first statement, to load the data in your program. First part of this statement, what tells to us? Colon means all row. This is the slicing concept. Very good. And this one tells about how many columns we want to store in the variable. We want to pick up from this part of the data. It is colon 4. It means it will start from the 0, 0, 1, 2, and 3. So excluding this number, it will include all columns. Okay. Anu, you just wait. For this answer, you have to wait. Okay. So now our data set has been stored in this X variable. So let's check what is in the X now, right? So in the X part, we have this data. This is the first row of our data set. This is second row of data set, just input features only. We have 4 values here. And you can check that we have printed all 150 records. Okay. So after this one, you can browse this data set further. You can check what is the shape of this data set. Okay, this is the shape of the data set. Data set, not data set. This is X. It's X part only. So the X part contains 150 rows and 4 columns, and Y part contains the output feature, data of output feature, and it has only 150 rows and 1 column. So that is not shown to us. So this is about our data set which we are going to use in the logistic regression model. And after it, our next part will be to split the data into 2 parts, not into 2 parts but 4 parts itself. One part will be used as the input training part, and second part will be used as the input testing part, and the third part will be as used the training part for the output, and this last one is the testing part of the output set. So let's check it also. And I told you earlier also in the last 2 lectures that we have a method whose name is train underscore test underscore split. So we can call this method directly. We need to pass data of input features and the data of output feature, as well as size of the test data, which is 0.2. 0.2 means what? 0.2 means to us.
Sir, 20% test.
Okay, right. Madhav, it's okay. It means 20%, right? You need to multiply it by 100. And this is random state equal to some number. Is it clear what is the significance of this number? Random state equal to 42. Why we are using this random state equal to some number?
So always there will be same set of values.
Right. Okay, for the same sequence of values, for always take same data. What data? Clearly write, please. Write the complete sentence because it is a technical issue only. So you have to include every possible word which will clear your answer. Okay, I am repeating again. If we have passed some number to the random state, it means whenever we will execute our program again and again and again, we will get the same 4 sets always. So technically, this number is used as a seed number to generate the random sequence. So how many times you will execute your program by using random state equal to 42? These 4 sets will always be same. Okay. So if it is your requirement to keep these 4 subsets of your data always same, then you can pass random underscore state equal to some number. Okay. And after splitting the data set into training and testing part, let's plot the data set.
I'm not clear why number 42 has been chosen to.
See, you can pass any number 42, 41, 1 to 5, 1 to 10, whatever you want or whatever number you like. It will generate a sequence, basically random sequence. Okay.
Okay, any number can be passed.
You can pass any number, but whatever number
Okay,
you,
sir.
any number which you pass, that will be used as a seed number for the random sequence generation. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. Next, we are going to plot the data so that we can check how visually our data looks. So for this purpose, we have a library. We used this library in earlier lectures also. So library name is matplot.lib, matplot.library.pyplot. You can say this is the library and this is the sub library under this library. And we have named it this sub library as PLT. You can give any name again. Okay. So whenever you draw some graph, it is expected that you should give the name of labels. What is on the x coordinate and what is on the x axis and what is on the y axis. You are supposed to tell. Okay. So we have told through this second line that this x label is for the features. It means x-axis is for the features and this y-axis for the spaces. It means for the output data. Okay. And we have taken the data part here only and in the float x variable. So all rows we have taken and 0 to 1. It means 1 will be excluded and we will have only the 0th column. Then again we have taken the output data and passed it to the scatter function of this library. This is our x data. This is my y data. This is the color to show the color and this is the label name. So let's execute this block and see what is the output basically. It is an image basically and it is taking some time. Okay. So we are getting this type of graph. Along the x-axis, we have the value of input features and along the y-axis, we have the value of the output feature, which is our spaces. So we have 3 classes only. One class is for one type of flower. Second value is for the second type of flower. And third one is the 2, which is for the third type of flower. Geeta Kochar, I will discuss this question after completing this program. This is a basically whatever you are asking, this is a different concept. Okay, you train your program on some data set and export the training part to the different data set basically. This is known as transfer learning. Okay, and Geeta, we are in the initial phase of this machine learning as per the lectures. Okay, so next, let's plot the remaining parts also. Okay, let's include the code in between here. So we have taken the second feature here, then third feature, and then the fourth one. And I hope this statement is clear to everyone. Iris.data, all rows, column from 3 to 4. And you know, we exclude the last column. So here we have only one column here. First column here, this is for the 0th column because indexing starts from the 0th. First column, 0th column, first, second and third. But as per numbering, there are 4 features basically, 4 input features. So it is 1, 2, 3 and 4. But programmatically it starts from the 0. So let's check what type of graph we are getting basically. So this is the graph for the first category flower. This is for second category flower. This is for the last category flower. Okay. So and this is the legend basically. So we have passed the labels here, right? Sepal underscore length, sepal underscore width, petal underscore length, petal underscore width. So this is the legend shown to you. This indicates which color is used for which feature, right? This blue color is used for this type of feature here. So you can extract the information from this graph that if the feature value of this particular feature lies in this range, it is the first category. If the petal width lies in this range, it is the second category. And if lies in this range, it is the third category. You might be observing that there is the overlapping of some of the feature values. That overlapping will be removed by the system using the feature values of the other input features. Okay. Extra column. What? Yes, please. Any question? Yes, please. I am just closing this. No, you are not audible basically. You can type your question in the chat box. You type in the chat box. Yes, please. Otherwise, I am moving to the next step. Okay. So let's generate the object of the logistic regression. Logistic regression is also a part of this library linear underscore model. Okay. We are using this this library linear underscore model since last 3 lectures. So we need to import the logistic regression, and after importing it, we need to create the object. And we after creating the object, we have stored that object in this variable model name. And after creating the object, what we are doing here, what dot fit does. What this fit method does.
कोफिशिएंट्स कैलकुलेट करता है B0 B1.
Okay. In other words, we don't always have this beta note and beta 1. It fits the data, right. Technically, you should say it trains our model. Vinayak Sharma, it is okay for the linear regression, but generally you should say that it trains the model. To train the no, Jaspreet answer is totally wrong. It doesn't transform the data. Basically, it learns from the data only. Okay. So after creating the object, no place. Yes, no place. In the fitting part, we need to pass the training part of the input data and the training part of the output data. Right? And after training the model, we expect the model to generate the predicted values for us. Yes, please. There is the noise. Divakar Thakur. Okay. So to predict the data, we need to pass the X part of our testing data. And we will store this data into some array. And the last statement is just to print the output data, predicted output data. Just wait. Okay. Oh, sorry. There is some issue with this version, basically, I think. Let me to share the another screen, please. Is this with okay. Let me to start from here. After creating the model or after fitting it, we need to pass the X underscore test part of our data set. And after it, we print the data. Okay. So this is my printed data basically. Okay. Just please, just 1 minute. So this is my predicted data, this one. This is the part of the predicted data. We have just passed 20% of the data for the testing purpose, and this is the output. It means the first row of the testing data is predicted as floor number second, that is 1, for which we have used 1, and for the second one it is 0, and for the third one it is 2. Okay. So after making the prediction, we need to check what type of output data we are getting basically. And this one is shown to us in the form of confusion matrix. Okay, this is my confusion matrix. It is visible to everyone. This is my confusion matrix. In this confusion matrix, we have 3 rows as well as 3 columns. So this is the first type of flower. This is for second type of flower. This is for third type of flower. It means out of these 30 samples, 10 samples belong to the first category of flower. The nine samples, predicted samples, belong to second type of flower, and the 11 samples belong to the third category of flowers. So this is our basically confusion matrix. To generate the confusion matrix, we need to import this confusion underscore matrix, which is defined in sklearn dot matrix. So yesterday also we included this library in our program, and after importing the confusion matrix, what we are required to pass? We required to pass the y underscore test part and the prediction. So what this y underscore test part tells to us? So what is this y underscore test part? Yes, please. Geeta, what y underscore test part tells to us? Yeah, but why? What why? Soumya Relan, answer is good. This is our
actual output.
it
सर एक्चुअल आउटपुट जो हमने प्रेडिक्ट करना है, प्रेडिक्शन के साथ मैच करना है.
Actual output corresponding to which part of our data set?
तो प्रेडिक्शन जो करनी है हमने.
Right, very good. It is the part of the data set whose predictions we need to do. So we have used y with this one, right? Y in our four sets, y stands for the output, right? And x stands for the x part. X underscore train, x underscore test, right? So we have passed x underscore test for the prediction, and we are getting predictions corresponding to x underscore test, and actual output for the x underscore test is stored in y underscore test, right? So we are comparing these two sets, which are x y underscore test as well as prediction test, prediction set, prediction data part basically. Okay, Jaspreet, answer is okay. So let's move to the slide part. Okay, I just told you earlier this is the mathematical part, but I will try to make sure that everyone will get clear it. As I told you, this model is purely based on the probability. And what is the probability? It is the chance of happening of some event, right? You have heard about the definition of the probability: favorable cases and divided by total number of cases. Okay, so if you say that there are 80% chance of snowfall, what it means? 80 divided by 100. It means probability is 0.8, right? Okay, it is a very small part basically, and we have one term associated with the probability for this model. It is the odd ratio. Odd ratio is the probability of success divided by probability of failure. Okay, so for this example, what probability we have for the success? 0.8, and for the failure it is basically, if we have the probability of one event, for example, for the success, and if we subtract this probability from 1, then we will get a probability of failure. So you can say this is the probability of success equal to PA, and the probability of failure equal to 1 minus PA. We have just 2 slides for the mathematical part. So if we divide this number, we will get another number which is 4 for this case, and we take the log of this number. log giving us a small number basically. Okay, so you can say this part you can mathematically define. It is the first upper part is the probability of success, and this is the part of the probability of failure. This symbol denotes the complement basically. You can write as a probability of failure also, it is up to you. So in other words, you can write it in this form, log of p divided by 1 minus p. So let's this is the one data collected for the different probability for some events. We have collected from point 1 to point 9, and the odd ratios comes out to be this value for the second row, this value for the third row, this value, and you can calculate the odd ratio by using this formula which I told you on the previous slide. Okay, if we take the log of this number, we will get this number. If we take the log of this number, we are getting this number. If we take the log of third number, we are getting this number. So from this data, you can observe that our data is centric to the zero number. Some of the values, they are left side of the zero, and some of are on the right side of the zero. Same value we are getting here. This one. So you can say its mean will be 0. Okay, why we are doing this transform? Because it will make the problem easier for the analysis purpose. Right, just one. Okay, now let's consider the mathematical expression for the linear regression. See, we have used regression word in the logistic regression. What it specifies to us, that this model is derived using the linear regression model. So logistic regression has been derived using the linear regression. So this is my expression for the linear regression, and all of you know what are the meanings of these coefficients. Okay, so nothing to tell you. And this is the point which you need to note. I told you earlier also, if we have single input variable, we will get a line. If we have more than one input variable, we will get a plane. Okay, right. So let's start with the mathematical derivation. So this is if we consider for the single variable case. For the single one, we have two variables, beta naught and beta 1, and this my y can be represented in the log of odd ratio, log of p divided by 1 minus p. Okay. Then in the second line, what we are doing, we are cancelling out log from the left side. So here we will have the e की power exponential of this factor, because this log is the natural log. And then we will simplify this further. We will add 1 to both the side. You can add any number to both the side. It will, because we have added 1 both the side, so there will be no impact basically. We are doing this type of operation for the simplicity purpose. Then taking the LCM, very simple, we will get this expression, p will be cancelled out with the help of minus p. Then you can further simplify it. क्या कर सकते हो आप, इसको अपने डिनोमिनेटर को न्यूमरेटर में कन्वर्ट कर दिया इस फॉर्म में. Okay, and in the next step you can write p as, right, taking the LCM and then simplifying it further. 1 will be cancelled out with minus 1. We will get this factor on the numerator side, and on the denominator side we have this factor. Okay, and then we can further simplify it by dividing numerator and denominator by this term. So finally we are getting this expression. This is the only mathematical part which I need to tell you. Okay, and this expression is matching to this one. 1 upon 1 plus this number, some number, e की power minus some expression. So this is a very popular function in machine learning. Do you know what is the name of this function? This function is the sigmoid function basically. This is the sigmoid function. Most of the advanced machine learning algorithm, they are using this sigmoid function directly or indirectly. Okay. So if we draw the graph of this function, we will get this type of graph. This one. It means whenever z is approaching to minus infinity, this value of the function is approaching to 0, and when this z is approaching to infinity, the value of this function is approaching to 1. So the output generated by this function will lie between 0 to 1 only. Okay, is it okay? Right. Nishchay answer is right. This expression is okay. Okay, Abhishek, very good. Okay, Jaspreet, okay. As a machine learning specialist, you must know this type of mathematics also. Because just using the function by calling from its library will not learn you so much. So you should try to go into depth of the mathematics associated with each of the model. Okay. So you can say now that this logistic function or sigmoid function will give us the probability. This is the range of the probability. Okay. So what we are doing basically, just earlier I told you that the logistic regression is built on linear regression. So now we need to combine these two statements, that logistic regression is dependent on the linear regression, and we have another part in the form of sigmoid function. So we need to combine these two functions. And when we combine these two functions, we will get the probability of each of the testing part basically. Okay. Okay. So if we have more than one input features, just like x1, x2, xn, then we need to use all beta 1, beta 2, and beta n. But we will be getting the same type of the expression, which is 1 upon 1 plus exponential minus your number, which is named as z. Don't confuse with this z. This is not a complex number basically. We have given the name z to this expression, beta naught plus beta 1 into x. You can give any name. It is your choice. But in most of the books or articles, it is written z here, z only. Okay. So what we will be getting basically, whenever we are programming, what we will be getting the probability for each of the sample. Suppose I have 3 classes, C1, C2 and C3, and I have 30 instances or 30 rows which we want to predict using the trained model. So in our end we have 30 rows, and for each of the row we will get 3 probability for this class, probability for this class, probability for this class. So you can say we have 3 number of rows, 3 number of classes, we will get total 90 probability. And then how to select from this 19 probability? The selection is row by row. For example, if this is my first row and the probability of the first one is 0.1, Probability for the second one is 0.7 and probability for the third one is 0.2. Then the first sample will belong to C2 class. Okay. So internally, what logistic regression is doing when it is fitting your data, it is trying to fit the beta naught and beta 1, and by using this beta naught and beta 1, for each of the row which is to be predicted, it is generating 3 probability to you. The number of the class which are in your data set. Okay. Right. So this is again same point which I told you earlier. So this is my sigmoid function. Linear model output will be passed to this sigmoid function and we will get the probability values between 0 and 1. Okay. So you can yes, please. Is any question? Any doubt? Anish Khatre, any doubt, बच्चों? Ekant Garg, what is the problem? Ekant, Ekant. Okay. Let's say combine this logistic regression model with the linear model graphically. You know, in the linear regression model, we get one line. Suppose this is my line, and this is the line of logistic function. Okay. So you can observe that these are the outliers for this case. So this will generate the probability in its range only, that is 0 to 1 only. So you will get some probability value in this range only, right? Okay. But so I am just coming within 5 minutes. Yes, please. One question is there from Anu. In print P, since probability cannot be more than 1. Okay, this part is okay, Anu. Probability cannot be more than 1. But this is written in some different format. Let me go to the spider. Okay. So firstly, let me to tell how we are getting the probability basically. Whose probability we want to get basically? We want to get the testing part of our X. We are predicting the X test only, and for this purpose we have a method predict underscore probe A. Okay, so this is the method of logistic regression. So this is associated with the object of the logistic regression. Dot predict underscore probe A. This is the name of the variable in which our data was stored, which was to be predicted. And this is all rows, all column. Now let's take rest whenever required, please. Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. So this is the probability associated with the first class, first row of our X underscore test data. So you might be observing that this is 1.02551359 exponential minus 02. Basically you need to know what is this representation. It means 1.02 is multiplied by 10 की power this number, 10 की power this number. So you can say this is your it is to be divided by 100. So it is 0.01. This is not 1. Anu, this is not 1. This is this is equal to 1.025. If we drop the remaining part, multiplied by, you can say divided by 100. Right? So it will come out something 0.01 something. Okay. Is it okay, Anu? Yes, okay, Anu. Similarly, you can observe from the other data also. This is point. What about this one? Okay. It means it is to be divided by 10. Sanket, it is okay. Right, Soumya, right. Okay. So this is the 3 probability for the first row. Which one is bigger one? Okay. Right. So I hope now you have got the point. Right. So let's check the predicted output. This is 1. In the predicted output, it is 1. Right. 0, 1, 2. First class is denoted by using 0, second is 1, and third is 2. So it is 1 here. And similarly, you can check the second row. Right. Its probability comes out to be first C1 is 0.8, around 0.8. So it is it is the first class basically. So and now I have given you the idea how the logistic regression works and how it calculates the probability and how the particular class is selected. Okay. Is it okay? Yes, please. Okay, thank you. Okay for everybody. Okay, Soumya. Okay, Ritik. And I hope this graph is clear to everyone. One point, theoretical point, which you need to know that this line is approaching towards 1, right? So theoretically, we call it as asymptote. So this logistic function has two asymptotes. Asymptote is the line which you can say tries to meet some point, but it is not meeting. So whenever we will extend our points towards the infinity, you can say it will meet to that point. So it is approaching towards 0 as well as towards 1. At 0, when this variable, this feature is approaching to minus infinity. And whenever it will be approaching plus infinity or infinity, it is approaching this number 1. This number is 1.01 number. Okay. Okay, this I told you. Okay, now let's discuss about the confusion matrix. Confusion matrix I also shown here. So this is my confusion matrix. This is my confusion matrix. This is for the first type of the class. This is for the second type of the class. This is for the third type of class. So out of 30 samples, 10 samples belong to class 1, that is Shatusa flowers, and 9 samples belong to second class, and 11 samples belong to third class. Okay. Oh, sorry. So now how we write the confusion matrix basically. We have taken the example of 2 classes for this matrix here. So along this direction you can take predicted class, and along this direction you can take actual class. Okay. Actual class are stored in y_test, right, in our program. And the predicted classes, they were stored in predictions data frame, prediction data set. Okay, whose name I gave as prediction only. So this is the first column. This is positive, this is negative, this is positive, this is negative. Positive means this part. Negative positive means this one. Positive negative means this column. Negative means this column. Okay. So we call it as a true positive. Right? We are assuming that one of the class is positive type and second is class negative type. Right? So for example, if my class contains true and false, then I can represent this true by 1, false by 0. Okay. So let's discuss this confusion matrix for two classes only, negative and positive. You can name them. So what this true positive tells to me? It tells to me that predicted output is positive and it is true, right? It means class is predicted as positive and it was also positive. It means it is a correct prediction, you can say. So this is the correct prediction. Okay, so whatever class was, it was predicted as same. And this is you now going to the last one. This is true negative. True negative. You need to move from this direction. Okay, true positive, true negative. So you will need to clear this second part and then go to the first part. Negative means the class is predicted as negative and it was also negative. It was predicted as negative and it is true. Means it is predicted as negative and it is actual negative. So these are the correct records basically. This is for the first. This is for the first class. This is for the second class. Is it okay? TP and TN are okay. TP means see. Okay, okay, Yogita. Okay, very good. Just remember, we need to move in this direction. And what about the remaining parts? Fn and Fp. Fn means start from here. Start moving from here. It is predicted as negative, but it is false. बच्चों प्लीज आवाज नहीं. Okay. So Fn means it is predicted as negative, but it is wrong. Okay, Soumya, okay. And same point you can apply to Fp. It is predicted as positive, but it is wrong. Positive है, गलत है, but it was not positive, it was negative. And this was positive. So these entries tells you about the wrong prediction. Is it okay? This is the details about the error matrix or confusion matrix. Okay.
Model which is fitting is.
Let's define. Yes, please.
Sir, means the model which we are fitting to predict is wrong. Like, what does it? I mean, what does it mean that prediction is wrong?
You need to go into the it's words only Fn or Fp. Fn means it is predicted as a negative by the model, but actually it is positive. So it found to be wrong. See, you have the test parting and prediction part also. So you are comparing these two parts of your data set. One is the original data set, Y test you can say, and this is the prediction set. So you know what is the actual output, and you have the predicted output in your hand. So it is if it is predicted as negative, but actually it is positive. So it is the case of Fn.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay. Right. So now let's define some other matrix. So first matrix is the sensitivity of recall. This is the ratio of true positive to the sum of true positive and Fn. So this is the value which is, this is the number of the samples predicted as positive and they are true. It means samples were positive and they are also samples were positive basically in our data set and they are also predicted as positive. Okay, so it means they are correctly predicted. So the number of the positively corrected samples, they are stored in some variable, and that is used as the numerator of this metric, sensitivity or recall. Okay, and what about the denominator part? This is the true positive. It means same number it is here, and this is the F negative. What F negative specifies to me? What it tells to me? That the sample is predicted as negative, but it is false. It means sample was positive. Getting me? So you can say this is the ratio of the corrected positive to the ratio of the actual positive. For example, if my data set I have 10 as the positive samples, whose I want to predict. Out of these 10s, 8 are as TP and FN are 2. Then so you can say this is the total positive samples in my data set, which is what we want to predict basically. Fn specifies it is a positive sample, but wrongly it is predicted as a negative type. Okay, is it okay? Sensitivity, is any doubt? Yes, please. Okay, okay, Yogita, okay, very good. Tavisi Sharma, okay. So now our second metric is specificity. It is the ratio of Tn to the ratio of Tn plus Fp. Now same treatment you give to Fp. It is positive, but it is wrong. You can say it is the ratio predicted negative to the total number of negative samples in our data set. Okay, so sensitivity is for the positive case, specificity is for the negative case. याद रह जाएगा बच्चों, TP by this number and TN by this number. Okay, then third one is the accuracy. Accuracy means total positive divided by total number of samples. Okay, Abhishek. So I have the total number of samples, TP plus FN plus FP plus TN, and these are the correctly predicted by my model. TP plus TN, यानी कि जो true वाले हैं, they will be in the numerator part, and all samples, sum of all predictions, they will be the denominator part. Okay, next we have the precision. We have two type of precision, negative as well as positive. Negative ko we can write simply precision only. You can write positive predicted value or precision. This is the negative precision. Negative ke saath you need to attach this negative word. This is the ratio of true positive and total predicted as positive by the sample, either true or false. The same treatment you can give to the negative type. This is the Tn and the sum of the truly negative sample and wrongly negative sample predicted by our model. And we have one more feature, and this feature is derived using this precision and recall. First one and this precision, this one. So this one is used here and this one is used here. Recall, where is my recall? Right, this is the recall and this is the precision. Twice this is multiply, bacho. Okay. So now, okay. Can you calculate? Okay, this is one sample, one data set here. We have total n number of samples. इसमें उल्टा लिखा है, it is your choice, no need to issue. Right, it's okay. Predicted is here and predicted is also here. Right, okay. So this is no sample. no class, this is second class. It means it is TN, it is TP. आप इसको इंटरचेंज कर सकते हो, नो इशू, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा उससे. And this is Fn again, and this is Fp. So this is the sum of this row is 60 and sum of this row is 105. Total sum is 165, sorry, 165. And again the sum is same along this way and this way also. Okay, so let's try to implement these definitions on a given actual and predicted set. Okay, so this is my predicted sample, predicted row, actual row, and this is the predicted row. Can you find out this TP, TN, FP and FN? See, I am explaining the first row. This I am taking one as a positive and 0 as a negative. Okay, so what is this one? Is it a negative? 0 for the negative, so this is negative. And is it okay? No. So the first row is Fn type. Similarly, you can check this is TP type. So you need to check each row one by one and then do the sum of these Fn and Fp and TP and Tn like this and put in the equation here. In these definitions you can put here. You try to find out what is the value of the precision and recall for this data set. For this data, what is the value of precision and recall? Sandeep Kaur, TP is 1, TN is 1, FP is 5 and FN is 3. Let me to check it, Sandeep. So the first one is Fn type, second one is TP type, and what about the third one? It is predicted as P, but it is false. It is false. What about this one? It is predicted as negative, but it is again false. It is predicted as positive. Are you getting? Yes. Then everyone write the value of TP, TN, FPFN in your chat box. Sanket. Suruchi. Write the value of this TP, TN, FP and FN. Geeta Kochar. Write your values, Geeta. TP, TN, FP, FN. Saket, you have your complete table, na? This is your testing part, x underscore test. And second one is the predicted part. Abhishek, what do you mean by TP here? Okay, no problem. So what is the value of precision? Precision क्या है बच्चों आप लोगों का? Okay, Suruchi, okay. Precision is 1 by 1 by 6. Why 6? 6 कैसे आ गया ये? सांची 6 कहां से आया बच्चे? संकेत माथुर ये 6 कहां से आया भाई? 1.167 कहां से निकाल दिया आपने? ओके, इट इज द सम ऑफ. व्हाट इज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ प्रिसीजन? प्रिसीजन में क्या है आपके पास? इट इज द रेशो ऑफ टीपी एंड टीपी प्लस एफपी. ओके, सिमिलरली व्हाट इज द वैल्यू ऑफ रिकॉल? वर्णिका रोंग है. Your answer is right. Sanket Mathur, your answer is right. Soumya, your answer is also right, and you have given the you have used another name, which is the sensitivity. So we also call this recall as a sensitivity. Okay. Okay, बच्चे, okay. Let's try another question in which you have interpret this sentence, these sentences, language written in the question. This is somewhat difficult from the first one. I am reading out the question. Let us suppose that there are 200 pages available on internet for machine learning. The search on this term returns total 210 pages, out of which 190 belongs to the machine learning. So you need to calculate precision and recall for the model which did this. And so you need to find out here what is your TP, TN, जो भी आपने use करना है. You need to extract the data from this question. Sandeep, you are going in a proper direction, but you need to find out the actual value of precision and recall by using this data which you have extracted from the sentences of your question. Okay, I am showing the formula. Okay, wait, Sandeep Kaur, wait. Good, Saket, Garak, good. Vinayak, please write in the form of 119 and value given in the question. Otherwise, I will have to calculate it, but your answer is wrong. Vinayak, your answer I think is wrong. Totally wrong. Yeah, so mates, but whose answer it is 0.9, whatever you have written, Soumya. Kindly write the name of the matrix also. Karthik, don't share with everyone, yaar. Anji, lo, Sandeep lo. This one. Yogesh, what it is? Is it precision or recall? Precision or what it is basically? Recall, right. Tushar, right. Precision, right, Yogesh, right. Okay, let me to discuss. There are total 200 pages. It means TP plus FN. You can say it is 200. Right na? Actual number of pages which belong to machine learning, they are TP plus FP, FN. FN is the positive also na. It is actual predicted, positive predicted. It is the predicted which is negative, but it is positive. Okay, so it is 200. So TP plus TN is 200. And what is TP? That is 190. So your recall is 190 by 200. Again, what about the precision? The definition of the precision is TP divided by TP plus FP. FP means negative, which are predicted by wrongly as positive but are negative. So you can say this sum is the sum of total pages which are returned by the model. They are 210, but actually the number of pages which belong to machine learning, they are 200. So you can 190 are the TP in this case. So it is 190 by 210. You can take it. So this is our precision. This is my precision. So basically you might be getting this type of question, not directly in the form of table. So you just read out properly and you can find out the answer. Recall is 190 by 200. Right? Their worth, it is wrong. Precision is okay, but recall is wrong. Because recall tells us that in the denominator we have the total positive classes. टोटल जो भी आपके पास नंबर है टोटल ही 200 है, 210 कैसे आ जाएगा? What this tells to us? TP plus SN क्या है? TP plus FN is 200 only, right? It is ये क्या है? What this term tells to me? Predicted, actually predicted. They are positive and they are actually positive. Basically, they are predicted as positive and actual positive. And FN tells me this is predicted as negatively, but it is false. So you can say this is the part of the P. So this sum gives me this number only directly. You can pick it up. Okay. So now let's start with another topic, which is the feature scaling. Okay, बच्चों. Are you comfortable now with the logistic regression? Yes, please. Geeta Kochar, Ira Sharma, Tarun Bhatia, Yogesh. Any doubt related to this logistic regression? Either theoretical or programmatical?
Sir, Sandeep this side.
Yeah, yes, Sandeep.
Sir, I wanted to ask that why the function fx equal to 1 upon 1 plus e to the power minus x, what is the specialty of this function that it is used quite frequently?
Yeah, yes. Basically, what this function gives us, this is the graph of the function. So whatever value of that we'll have, this function will be in the range of this one only, 0 to 1 only. So you can say this is a probabilistic type function. You can use this function for the problems in which you want to output as a probability form. It means in the range of 0 to 1 only.
Okay, sir.
Right. And this function has some other useful properties which due to which we can use this function for the neural network, CNN and other deep learning models.
Okay, sir. Means the results are distributed normally in this fashion.
Yeah, in the range, in this range only, 0 to 1, always 0 to 1. So if your model demands that output should be in the range of 0 to 1, or you can say probabilistic type, then you can use this one only. Directly you can this function.
Means wherever probability comes into picture, there comes this signal.
Yeah. High chances whenever probability comes into picture, or you can say the output is in the range only.
Fine.
0 to 1 also. So basically, if the range is this type only, then you can map it with the probability.
Fine, sir. Thanks a lot.
Okay. So let's start with the new topic. So in this data set, we have 4 features. One is the gender, second one is the age, third one is the salary, and the fourth one is the special type of the column having 0 and 1 value. It tells us whether the customer will purchase the items or not. So if it is 0, it means he or she will not purchase any item, or have not purchased any item from you. And one specify that yes, he or she chances are there that he or she can purchase the item from you. So now on the basis of this data set, we want to make the prediction, and this is our gender column. So we can skip this one, because whenever a person wants to purchase something, some product in general, it doesn't depend on the gender. Okay, so for the simplicity, we will not consider the first sample. So now let's talk about the second and the third one. Okay, just wait, bacho. Okay, so this is age column and this is salary column. So you can compare that the value of this third column are very higher than this age column. Okay, so whenever we have this type of scenario, what may happen? The model can give more biased, can give more weightage to this column because its value is higher. So there are the higher chances that your model will give priority to this column as its values are high, and this column will get less priority because its values are very small in comparison of the third column. So for this type of the data set, you can say this is not a balanced data set for your machine learning model. So now here we need to do something. We have to execute some process so that the data will be of balanced type. Is this point clear? Whenever we have this type of scenario, we need to we need to make a balance between these columns, these input columns. This is my first input column which I want to consider for the model, and this is the second. Okay, so there is need to perform some extra job basically to make the data set as a balanced type. Okay, so you can say in machine learning models, standardization of the data set is a common requirement for most of the machine learning models. They might behave badly if the individual features do not more or less look like the standard normally distributed data. You can say your data should be standardized data, or you can say it must follow the normal distribution or Gaussian distribution. Both are the same type basically. Gaussian distribution means that the data set or column must have the zero mean and variance as 1. So but this one is not following any this type of feature, so we can process by using some extra functionality so that both the columns will follow the normal distribution. Okay, and the reason is very much clear, which I stated to you, that your column having large values, they will get more priority, or you can say the model will be biased towards the salary in comparison of the age column. So for this purpose, Let's go to the programming part. Again, we have a CSV file which I mailed to you people today. The name of the CSV file is customer.csv, and we have loaded the data into the dataset and printed the dataset by using a print command. And we have taken the input data in the X variable and output data in the Y variable, same like the other programs. Then what we have done here, we have divided our data set into 4 parts by taking the testing size as 25%, and this random state is equal to 0. We have to consider here. You can give any number to this one which you want. Basically, you can do some testing by varying the random states value. So this is a function which is new to all of you. Okay, so let me to exclude this part and then run the model. So now you can say, you can observe that your matrix is a confusion matrix of this type. Now without any processing, what confusion matrix we are getting? We are getting this type of confusion matrix. No, it is not copied basically. This is my confusion matrix. It means 4010. How you will interpret this confusion matrix? Four zero 10. Yes, Suruchi. What is the meaning of this 4010? If we consider it as a confusion matrix.
Sir, this means that 4 values belongs to 0 category, means
Okay, good, very good. It means 4 values are predicted correctly. Because the values which are predicted correctly, they lie along the diagonal part of the matrix. Right? Right na? Bachcho? Yes, please. 4010 means 4 are predicted correctly and 1 is predicted wrongly. Yes, bachcho. Yes, please. Right. Abhishek, right. But why you people are not speaking? Right, they worth. Now you are right. 4 are 0 predicted wrongly, nahi 1 predicted wrongly. Total wrongly and total correctly. Make the sum na. Make the sum of both category. Predicted correctly and wrongly. Which are correct and which are wrong. 4 plus 0 and 1 plus 0. Okay. So now you can say out of these 5 entries, 4 are correct and 1 is wrong. So what is our accuracy? So what is the accuracy of the model? Four by 5, very good. And in percentage, Yogesh, convert it into percentage. Sanjeev, convert it into percentage. 80%. Very good, Yogita Sangwan. Very good. Okay. So now let's do some more experimentation by using this feature, which is, let me to open the slides. Okay. Okay, bacho, okay. So I have one library pre-processing, and in this library we have a class standard scaler. So we are importing this standard scaler class in our program and then created the object, and the object name is given sc_x, standard scaler _x. And in this object we have a method associated which is fit_transform. Okay, and we are passing x of our training part. So it means we are transforming the training part by using this fit_transform. Okay, and this is my transformed training part, and then we are passing this. This is my, okay, right. Okay. So what we are doing basically, we have transformed the training part here, and we have transformed this part x test part also, right? So we pass this x train part to the fit method of the logistic regression, right? And then we pass this x text to the predict method of our model, and then let's check the output. So now my output is of this type. This is my x train. This is my right. This is x test. This is, yes, now it is 100% accurate. So what we have achieved basically, you can say our data set is very small. We have just passed 5 rows to the predict method, but you can also say on the other side that accuracy has been increased 20%. You can observe that there is the significant effect on the performance of the model. Okay, but you need to keep in mind that you need to pass both the x part of your training part as well as testing part to these methods of the standard scaler class. Firstly, create the object of this class, and then pass the x training part to this fit_transform, and x test part to this simple transform. So you can say you need to pass the input data only. You need to convert the input data. Okay, and I have printed 10 rows of the x train. They have been converted. This is first row, this is second row, this is my third row, fourth row, fifth row, sixth row, seventh row, and this is the last one is the 10th row number 10. Okay, but actually it was, this is my first row, 19 and 19,000, 35 and 20,000. Now these values have been converted into these transformed values. Okay, So you can say we have achieved something by using this standard scalar class, and this feature is the features. This concept is the feature scaling concept. Okay, is it okay, बच्चों? So in for the real time applications, you will get this type of the data on which you need to execute the feature scaling concept. It will not be always that you will get 100% accuracy. It is due to very small number. Yogita, why it is fit underscore transform for training part and only transform for the testing part? Yogita, you try with the same method on the both data set. Then we will discuss it tomorrow. You try this part by taking training for the fit underscore transform as well as for the transform, and similarly for the testing part, x underscore test. Okay. Then check the difference. Okay, bachcho. Any question? Any other question? Okay, Yogita. Sanket. Geeta Kochar.
Yes, sir.
I hope now you can make the program using this logistic regression model. Am I right? Okay, Sanket. Very good. Saket Garg and Sanket Mathur. Yes, Satvinder. Very good.
Hello.
Yes, please.
माय क्वेश्चन इज सेम कि अगर हमारे पास डिफरेंट डाटा सेट्स होंगे तो उसके लिए हमें क्या स्टेटमेंट यूज करनी होगी पे इंटरेस्ट स्प्लिट की बजाय?
नहीं बच्चे, your question programmatically you have a different question. Basically you have the two data sets na.
Yes sir.
Different data sets.
Yes sir.
So you can directly use this concept of colon, which I am using since last 3 lectures. This concept, this programming concept, you can directly use. What is the harm in this? Nothing. Even you can skip this concept, this method na. We are using this one just for the random state only. We are getting the advantage of this random sequence only. Otherwise we can just write 2 lines here and we'll get the different data set. We have the concept of this colon specifying the row numbers and column number. There is no issue.
Okay.
And but then we will need to use one more thing. We have to randomly select the data parts ourselves, because one method we cannot use for the different data set itself. Okay, or you can write your own method. You can update this feature in your method. You can combine their random sequence and then pick up the, by using the for loop, you can use the random sequence and do the job yourself. We have this feature of splicing and colon and this row number and this column number we can use there. But the issue will be of just this last option, random underscore state. So whatever part we will select from our data, we will have to decide these row numbers using some concept of random number. You can generate random number and correspondingly you can use that sequence to pick up the rows randomly. It may be that some method is may be available in some of the library, but I have not used that method. But we can create that method ourselves. We can create a model and call in our program. You know, there is the concept of module. You can write a module and call in any of the library. Yes, please. Any other point? But your question is good, observation is good. And yes, Geeta, one more point we can do. We can concat the data set basically. Hello?
Yes, sir.
We can concatenate our data set.
Okay, sir.
That
So
is a
we
very
will just
simple approach. You have two data sets now, but you are required to have the same number of columns in both the data set. So you can directly concat them.
okay, sir.
That is a very simple one. Simple approach.
Thank you, sir.
Concating कर दो बच्चे उस पे कुछ भी नहीं करना फिर उसको एज ए एक्स एंड वाई पार्ट यूज कर लो सीधा
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
ओके ओके यस सर डॉक्टर मुकेश
जी डॉक्टर किसाना जी
यस सर माय पार्ट इज ओके
okay, that's great, sir. Thank you so much.
थैंक यू सर थैंक्स
Really,
टू यू आल्सो
really a great lecture, great conversation
Thank you.
from your side,
थैंक
and
यू
a
सर
very interactive kind of session.
थैंक यू सो मच सर
Okay, you. So that's it, dear participants. See you tomorrow on the same time from 5 o'clock. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Kusana ji.
ओके सर ओके
जी सर, कल मिलते हैं सर. Thank you.
ओके श्योरली सर श्योरली
Okay, okay.